Welcome,
Oh,
everybody, to a very special episode of History Lessons. Today, we'll be talking about YZ's debut album, Sons of the Father, which celebrates 35 years. We want to go back in time and take a look at that classic that we're still talking about in 2025. Uh, let's take a little journey back. Before you got to Tough City, you was at Diversity Records, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. Talk a little bit about your time there.
At Diversity or Tough City?
Diversity.
Well, Diversity, it was short-lived. I mean, Timmy and I, we were 50, we were 50 owner of Diversity Records, and then we put out uh, a single, one other single from another group called Too Cool Posse on that label, and then Aaron came calling. And when Timmy told me about Aaron, he was like, "Look, I think we should go sit down with this man and talk to him about, hear what he got to say about where he wants to, what he wants to do, where he wants to go." And so he scheduled a meeting. We went up there. I didn't really want to go, honestly. I was just like, okay, but I mean, but we went, and diversity was an experience for me because I was really trying to focus on that. I was hoping that we could have turned that into, the local hit making epicenter of New Jersey,
Right.
especially central New Jersey, because we were based out of Trenton. And, so we had step two, Poor Righteous Teachers. They had signed to us. So we had Two Cool Posse, Poor Righteous Teachers, and YZ all signed on diversity. And just, as fast as it came, it went.
You had In Control of Things on there and Thinking of a
Yeah,
Master Plan.
yeah, yeah.
What do you
And
remember most about the reception when you guys released that on Diversity?
to be quite frank with you, when we first put out In Control of Things, because that was the A side, and we sent it to DJs, we didn't really get love right off the bat for some reason. It took a minute. Um, and then somehow it got into Pete Rock and Molly Mall's hands. And what they did was uh, now I didn't know this when we did the record, but um, when Pete Rock and Marley took over the Magic Show, his show was called the In Control Rap Show, and so he would start his set out with In Control of Things, and for a long time I didn't even know. I didn't know, and then because there you had to be Friday and Saturday. If you weren't there at 9 o'clock on the nose, you were gonna miss a lot of stuff. And so for a while, I didn't even know he was doing it. And then, but the beauty of those mix shows back then, a lot of times those mixes were very similar. I noticed that Red Alert, he would do similar mixes that were like last week's mixes. I don't know if they just replayed them over or whatever, but they were similar. And the same thing with Marley and Pete Rock. The mixes, I guess they had their set that they wanted to play, and they had certain songs that they wanted to push, and they only had a couple hours to do it a week, so they did it in that time frame. And so every week for a while, In Control, when the In Control rap show came on, the first thing you would hear was Soul Sisters. These boys think we ain't down for the okie dokie. And I was just like, yo, this is amazing, bro. And so that was dope. And then there was another DJ out of Texas by the name of DJ Easy Eddie D. And he was out of Dallas. Now, I didn't know this brother. I didn't know this brother at all. And he didn't play In Control of Things. He was playing Thinking of a Master Plan. And somehow on his own back, he carried that record Before you know it, Houston was playing it, and other areas of Texas was playing it. And by the time I got wind of it, it was a big hit in Houston, like a really like I'm talking about daytime radio record. And so when we started to get the invites to come down to Houston to perform, I was really shocked, bro, because New York is a different world, man. New Jersey, New York, the tri-state area is just a different world from, eh, did I ever see myself going to Texas? No. And but it happened, and I'm glad it did because once I went to Texas, I realized that we could go anywhere with this. This record could end up surfacing anywhere. And it did. It started to surface in the Bay. It started to surface in LA. It started to surface in Detroit and Chicago and different areas of the country that, as a young person stuck in this hole in New Jersey, had we not taken that trip to Texas, I probably would have never even looked outside of the tri-state.
Wow. Now you said you went over to Aaron to talk some details. What was that discussion like?
And Aaron was just like, "Look, man, I like this record. I want to try to do a full length with you." And I didn't want to do it, like I said. And again, I knew what the as they say, I knew what the assignment was. I knew when we went up there, what had to happen. And so, because Timmy wasn't really trying, he wasn't going up there just to go up there. He was going up there to try to solidify this deal with Aaron. And I wish in hindsight, if we just would have waited 3 months, 4 months, because back then it took a long time for stuff to surface. But once it did, there wasn't really much competition. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't really, especially coming out of Jersey, wasn't really hardly nothing coming out of Jersey. PRT wasn't out yet. You get me? Too Cool Posse wasn't out yet. And then if you go a little bit north, where I was from, EO, you started to get uh, flavor units started to bubble a little bit with Lakim Shabazz, and then shortly after they had other cats like I remember Laura Ali Baski and what's the other kid's name? Man, I listen to him all the time. I can't even Power. I can't even think of his name right now, and I feel ashamed of this because I don't say this, don't say that. Change your lyrics.
Mm.
uh, what is the name? What's this kid's name? He had the song "I Fight the Power," but I will attack.
Chill Rob G.
Chill Rob G. How did Chill Rob G? If you're listening, please forgive me, Aki, because that was just a slip of the mind, bro. Because I love Chill Rob G. Actually, I think Chill Rob G's still making music now. I
Yeah.
think, which is dope. Anyway, so of course you had DJ Cheese out, and Word of Mouth. They came before us, and you had a very, Duke Booty and a few other cats from Jersey, but nobody on the scale other than Sylvia Robinson that was really trying to do what I was trying to do, which was try to put Central Jersey on the map with a slew of MCs, and that's what diversity was supposed to represent. But when we went up to Aaron, um, the assignment was let's listen to what he has to say, and if it makes sense, let's do it. And I told Aaron, look, if we sign to your label, if we do a deal, I want a production agreement, and if we do this deal, I'm gonna change your label. And he probably thought it was a joke. He was like, yes, little nigga, think he gonna do something. But we ended up doing 4 videos from that album because of the popularity of it. I don't think any other Tough City artist had the uh, the bandwidth that we ended up getting at the time. Um, Now, don't get me wrong. Mark the 45 King was doing like little instrumentals and stuff on there, and later on I found out that Spoonie G was even putting stuff out on that label. And then after me, Then came Ultramagnetic MCs, even put a few things on there. But this was all after I had left. Not I'm talking about Ultra, not the Flavor Unit stuff,
Right.
because Mark was there when I got there.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so we did what we set out to do. We put out a project, and you know, with the help of some DJs across the country, we put a dent into the rap uh, road book or whatever, or the roadmap.
Right.
And I was excited about that. I didn't really like the way Aaron handled us as artists. And I don't think he handled anybody correctly. It's just, but you learn early on that, the nature of the beast. And he was a beast for sure.
Right.
He's a beast for sure.
So, how long did it take from Diversity to signing with Aaron? In between that time,
Uh, a year and a half, maybe
okay.
a year, because remember when we put out, it probably was a little bit longer than that. Now that I think about it, because even though In Control of Things was playing in New York, it took almost a year and a half before it master plan started to surface. So maybe a little longer than that, maybe a year and a half. So let's just be to maybe let's say 18 months to 24 months. It took that. It seemed really fast back then, but when I think on it, it had to be close to that because it took a long time for master plan to surface. And I don't think In Control of Things was going to do it for Aaron, you know.
Was that video already out before you got to Tough City?
No, no. When we first see, Aaron is a New York guy, so because In Control of Things was in his backyard and Master Plan was a B-sided record, he went with the for sure, like what's playing around his place, around his home, in his backyard. And so the first video that we shot off that album was In Control of Things. And you know, when we shot that video, and I didn't have, it wasn't my concept or anything. As a matter of fact, uh, I don't know if you remember Jonathan Demme. Jonathan Demme's wife shot that video, and she shot Thinking of a Master Plan. And and we formed a nice uh, we formed a nice bond between that time, because she shortly there became a manager, and she ended up managing uh, Funk Dubious, House of Pain. She was doing mostly like every Hispanic group there was. Like she was doing some stuff with Cypress Hill. And then when I finally went to New York years after this and signed Adolf, she stepped to me about co-managing Adolf. So I probably should have done that, but I was feeling myself, and it was no love loss. I just figured like, hey, I'm just getting my feet wet. Let me see what we can do. And in hindsight, 2020, I probably should have done it because I needed all the help I could get with Adolf.
Right.
Because he's just a handful, and she probably could have harnessed that energy a little better than me.
Right. Going into your debut album, how many songs did you have complete going into that project?
Uh, just the ones that were on that single, because we didn't record anything. We were doing a bunch of shows, and so When we first stepped to Aaron, the only thing that we had recorded what was on that what was on that single, which was In Control of Things, Master Plan, and I want to say on a Friday. I think it was on a Friday, or it was in the party,
Yeah.
in the party, and in the party had G Rock on it. Yep. So that was it.
Okay.
And then when we had a very small budget, most of which went to Epsilon Studios and Tony D. Because I just I didn't want to take a bunch of bread. Not to say that we were going to get a bunch of bread out of Aaron anyway, but I didn't want to take a bunch of bread. I really just wanted to get the project done. And so we went right to recording, and whatever came out of Tony's SP 1200, I was like, yeah, okay, let's rap to that. And that's why the album, I don't think, had the cohesiveness of, like, say, a Organic, or like a or like even the last three albums I did. Legend of Ford Jones is very cohesive. Even Muad'Dib is cohesive. And but that first album, it's remnants of house music, it's remnants of, reggae, it's remnants of a bunch of shit. Like, it's all over the place. And it's because I just wanted to get it over with. I was really just trying to get done with it, because my mindset was now, okay, we got this this deal. We still have diversity, and if I can hurry up, I can get some more artists on diversity and start putting out my other stuff. And somehow it just took all of our energy away, mostly because Aaron was a handful, man. He was just a bunch to deal with.
Hmm.
And he wasn't really a mean person. He was just very calculating. He wasn't mean. It wasn't like he was, he's one of those persons that smile in your face while he has all kinds of things going on in his head. And no disrespect to Aaron. I mean, I get it. I mean, to him, that's the nature of the beast. So that maybe that's just the nature of him and his people. That's just him. And maybe he felt like that's what we all deserve. This type of uh, treatment. So
Right. Talk a little bit about your creative process. This is your debut album, your first time out. What were you hoping to accomplish going into Sons of the Father?
to be honest with you, bro, see, these are if I had if if I wasn't so busy thinking about other artists and doing other things, I probably would have had a lot of time to think about it. And because my mind was really on, let's use this as a stepping stone to get somewhere else. I think that I just did that album of big disservice. Um, and just, if you want me to be completely honest with you, I wanted to get it finished. Um, I didn't think that anybody would ever uh, take to it, because it wasn't really, man. I hate being my own worst critic, man. But my mind just wasn't in that place. Like, my mind wasn't in, like, man, I gotta make the greatest album ever. And I really wish that because I had the producer to do it. If I just would have just taken my time and really thought about, hey, I might not get this chance again. Let's chill for a minute and let me really dissect this thing. But instead, I was just like, rush, rush, rush. We don't have a big budget. Let's get it done. Let's complete this, my commitment with this project, and let's move on to where we're going. And so I think, and that what I wanted to complete was, again, let's get it done. let's get it out there. I had already had a couple of singles now that were already, and most albums back then you weren't gonna get more than two singles, for more. And I don't care if you want Def Jam or whomever, um, unless you were Run DMC, you rarely were gonna get more than two singles. And we fooled around and ended up getting four off that album. Um, so I was satisfied in um, that the that album helped to give a physical presence to YZ. It made people know at least my face, and I don't know how serious the industry at the time was taking me. Um, and I could say that out loud now, like, but I don't know how serious they were taking me. And I didn't realize until I moved to New York after that, and when I ended up on Broadway and had 720 now, about to do the Ghetto's Been Good to Me album, then I realized that, once we put out, and I hate to be going to different albums, but once we put out the Ghetto's Been Good to Me, I mean, not the Ghetto's Been Good to Me, the album, but when we put out the Return of the Holy One, I knew people were taking me serious. They knew I wasn't playing at that point. And to me, those projects were night and day. they
Yeah.
they were like in two different directions. And I hate to say, even though I had more creative control and more ideas going into the second project, because I was handpicking the producers, I was going through all of the tracks and stuff, but the process was pretty much the same. Go in the studio, write, do what you feel and make it happen. With Tony D, I should have. I mean, because he was phenomenal, man. Like he really was. Like he was a handful in himself, but as a producer, like I really couldn't ask for anybody better. And I could have lassoed that in and shit probably made, you know, uh, uh, an album on the like on, and that would have warranted, you know, classic credibility. Even though people consider it a classic, to me, it could have been a much more solid classic, because if I would have followed In Control of Things, if I would have followed Thinking of a Master Plan, if I would have been thinking on that and in those terms, man, Lord knows where that album could have been. Lord knows. I mean, because he was, if I had just said, hey, nah, nah, that beat, I ain't gonna do that beat, Tom. Let me listen to more tracks. Let me take my time with this. And instead, I didn't even care. I was just like, whatever you produce, all right. Hey, you like this beat? Yeah. And not even listening to it.
Mm.
So then we got, even though, like, it's funny, on a Friday right now, people like that record. And clearly I was just playing around. Clearly I was playing around. And don't get me wrong, I like the sound of it. I mean, it's cool, but is it proper representation of where I could have gone with that project? No. This Liar probably was more on that. And then when we started to remix it with that Crocodile Dundee, that hard, that because that gutter sound was me. That was really who I was. Like, I mean, and that's why Holy One sounded the way it did, because that's what I really was trying to accomplish. But it just came later. It just came later.
Right. What do you remember most about those studio sessions?
So again,
What do you
oh,
remember?
having fun, man. We recorded that whole album at Epsilon Studios right there. I think that was Hamilton. just outside of Trenton. And I don't even think the studio's there anymore. The engineer was a guy named Tom Zepp. And, you know, Tony, I remember when you go into the studio, you when you come through the front door, you walk through the sound booth, and then you go to a room where it has like some, you know, instruments and stuff, and then the tape room or the recording room is actually in the far back, and you really couldn't see them. You know, like a lot of studios, they can see you recording. They didn't see you, but they could just hear you. And unless they looked out, you could see from the distance. But it was really just but the sessions themselves were they were fun, man. Tony and I, we would go in there and have a lot of fun. I would have B Fun around a lot of times. Well, and the other members of the crew sometimes would just come through. Um, I remember in that same studio, Culture Freedom and I recorded a song in that same studio. And so you know, and this is while we're going through all of this rigmarole between PRT and YZ. It was just a funny time, man. It was interesting. It was fun, and the time was also threatening too. I know that sounds crazy, but it was because people in Trenton took that beef really, really seriously, man.
Mm.
Um, they really, really did. Just like the Gangstar crew, uh, they had a big, big posse, and they took that little beef real seriously. Naughty by Nature's crew. This dude, they didn't go nowhere without 40 dudes, and they took that beef really, really seriously. And the only person that didn't really take it seriously was me. I didn't take it seriously at all. I mean, because this is hip hop, and and don't get me wrong, when it got serious and I had to become serious, there was no problem with that,
Right.
because I was a gun-toting dude. Like, I mean, so it was really no problem. But my intention wasn't about causing death and destruction from music. It was like, look, if you got something to say, put it on records and come at me. I don't care. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But I was hurting a lot of people's feelings, and I never understood how or why I was really hurting their feelings. And I guess that's why I didn't take it seriously. Because I'm like, yo, when you grow up, they always say, um, uh, what is it? Like, something about words don't hurt, like I can't even remember the phrase now, but like words, how words gonna kill you, like really hurt your feelings. And this is a man to a man, how your words ain't gonna ever really harm me. They're just words, and I just think that some people, they just felt like they could get away with anything. And I was the type of person that I was just not going to allow you to disrespect my crew in any form or fashion. And if they had beef and it came to me, I felt like it was my civic duty to step up to the plate. And because I didn't think much of it. And nowadays, I look back at that, and you got drill music now, and these cats are, half the time I don't really know if they're serious or not. But a lot of these dudes, they don't really have a lot of heart. See, I was really with the fighting. Like, if we were gonna get down to a fight, let's do it. Wasn't thinking we would just go out in the street and kill each other, and start shooting at each other, even though I carried a gun everywhere just in case. But my intention, though, even with having a weapon, wasn't that I was gonna go out and be this killer. I was just a person that didn't roll around with 40 different people. And so if 40 people came at me, that was the only thing that was going to keep them up off of me. Anyway.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, that if you notice on that album cover, there's B-Fon right there. He's in the background.
Okay.
He's sitting on the stoop, and if you turn the record over, that's him behind me. A lot of people thought that was like my DJ or something, but that was just my little homie, man. We sat and wrote In Control of Things together at my table because he wanted to rhyme. He wanted to rhyme. He wanted to be an MC. And so, since it was my opportunity, I was gonna give ESD a road into that. And so, when he came to me, I was just like, "Hey, look, I'm working on this project. Let's work on this together. Let's do this together."
Okay.
And so, a lot of times, tagging it up. He's on there talking. Shit. Um, on most of the songs, he's there. His voice is in the songs, saying different stuff. Um, Tagging it up that would have been a good single to me. When the Road is Covered with Snow would have been a really, really good single, but instead they wanted to do Who's That Girl, and that wasn't my choice. That wasn't my choice. I didn't see Who's That Girl doing anything, and sure enough, I mean, it kind of came, it went, and we did Tower with the Power. And to be quite frank with you, even though people like that song, that wouldn't have been a choice of mine. It wouldn't have, and I'm glad we did it. You know what I'm saying? But it wouldn't have been. And I guess that's when I knew I was learning the game. Because Child with the Power was something I would have never ever put out as a single. When I had all this other dope shit to sit in there. You know, tagging it up. Can you imagine if we would just got all the graffiti artists together and we was, you know, had them like went to New York and really at night in the middle of the night and cats is bombing. And that's where my head was. And instead they wanted to shoot Who's That Girl or you know, Tower at the Power. But the reason we ended up shooting Tower at the Power in Houston is because Houston had taken to us so big that was my way of paying homage back to them.
The crazy thing is, in 1990, I'm a 16-year-old thinking YZ's from Texas for the longest.
A lot of people thought that. And only reason I went to Texas to shoot that video is because Houston was showing me the most love, more love than New York, more love than Jersey was showing love, but no, there was barely any hip hop records making daytime radio at that time. And if you weren't Run DMC, or maybe I Need Love or something from LL Cool J, maybe Houdini. I remember One Love made it to daytime radio. Um, but I mean, you could damn near count on one hand, maybe two, the amount of hip hop records 89, 90 was really making daytime radio. Um, and then somewhere along the lines, Puffy happened. Because even PE wasn't really, when their first album came out, they weren't getting a lot of, there was mix show. PE, Public Enemy number one. I mean, you weren't really going to hear that in the daytime. At somewhere, somebody caught on and PE started to make a little dent into daytime radio. But if it wasn't for Fight the Power, though, Fight the Power is what really catapulted them to the next level. And Chuck said it best. He was like, Spike did that. He made people listen to that record. He made people pay attention where my record wasn't in a movie like that. Even though when I was in Houston, I worked on a movie called World Peace. I was the lead character in a movie called World Peace. I don't know whatever happened to that film.
Mm,
I wasn't director or writer. I was just an actor in it.
right. Now, what kind of momentum are you seeing once Tower with the Power hits the video screens and the airwaves with the project?
Uh, it was weird. I mean, because people took to the record. By this time, you know, BET was already on to me now. Like, because they had already played Master Plan. They had already played In Control of Things. Somehow, Master Plan started to outdo. Because remember, Master Plan was a B-sided record. It was never. We never even put an instrumental on the project, on the single. So it was never supposed to, or at least in my mind, it was never going to surface. It was just, it was too political. It was too socio-political. It was too, you know, it was too fight the power before fight the power. No, no, no. Yeah, because it was before fight the power.
Yeah.
This is before fight the power. It was too fight the power before fight the power. Ain't that something? It's weird looking back on it now. So it was never supposed to surface. But little DJ Eddie D in Dallas said otherwise, and he made that record surface. And when we did the video for it, we just got lucky that Mandela was just freed from prison, and so we took uh, that opportunity, that when he came to New York and they were going to do a ticker tape parade, we bum rushed the parade and shot a video. No permits, no nothing. We just bum rushed the parade. They gave me I wear hearing aids now. It's weird. A device similar to this that was a remote device. The guys in the background, Jiggy and all of them that was dancing for me. Remember, notice G Rock wasn't in that video. That was Jiggy Tribe in that video.
Oh,
Before they were Jiggy Tribe. And so here it is. You got Special Ed's DJ, I mean, two dancers in there and two of my dancers, and they were part of the same crew. And so but they were listening to me. They couldn't hear the music. They were dancing, but they couldn't hear the music. The only person that could hear the music was me. So that's how we ended up getting away with it, because here it is. I'm walking through this crowd of police officers everywhere, and they don't know what the hell I'm doing. I probably look crazy to them now when I think about it. They like, this nigga just walking around here. And maybe he just happy because Mandela free or something. I don't really know. But that was a landmark for us, though. And so, because of that particular landmark, I'm really happy that we ended up doing this album or putting it out when we did, and that we did not, because had I taken my time with it, maybe we would have missed that marker. And so I was happy with that side of it, because I have fun looking. I don't look at that video all the time, but when it comes across my desk or somebody plays it and stuff, I take time to look at it again. And I mean, that's a time in our history that we ain't never gonna ever get back, bro. It ain't never gonna come back. No one's ever gonna be able to do that now. Well, I guess with deep fake now, I guess you could fake it out or whatever, but you know what I mean.
right.
It was something real special in the air when we shot that. We shot that video from way downtown in New York to up in Harlem that whole day, from morning to the nighttime. And you notice like the last shot, it was dark. That's when Ed Lover and them all came around and he dancing in the video and everything. Yeah, so think about that. I've known Ed Lover that long, and cats that were around giving support. And so, you know, I think that that's the strongest point of that album. I think to me, it made the biggest splash. Something that was never supposed to surface ended up surfacing on its own. I guess you can't stop what's going to be. I guess you really can't. You can't, you know. And to think how it took so long for that record to surface, uh, because before DJ Easy Eddie D started playing it, Marley wasn't playing that record. Uh, Red wasn't really playing that record. Red would start to play that record later, but yeah, man. So
Wow.
I guess I can't look. I guess I can't look back at that project with salty eyes, because
Not at all.
yeah. So and I wish I was better at appreciating um, some of the things that I've done. Uh, because I know that I represent a lot of firsts for the game, I'm not my personality isn't such to be like, oh yeah, I don't have that in me. I've never been that person.
Right.
Um, and so it's very hard for me to do that. But but overall, man, I guess Aaron, he had a vision of his own. He saw something that he wanted to uh, use to represent his label, and he thought that this may represent it well because there were other artists that could have come and but at that time Aaron wasn't putting out a lot of full length projects. I think the only one that I remember is Lakim Shabazz. I don't even remember. I don't. I'm trying to think that he put out any other full lengths back then besides Lakim Shabazz and me. I don't think there were any. Were there?
Was who was Tough Crew signed to?
I don't think Tough Crew was signed to Tough City. They were signed to somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Tough Crew was signed to Tough City. They were Tough Crew was out of Philadelphia,
Right.
and there was a label there in Philadelphia that was actually doing some stuff. Um, a lot of the cold chilling acts were doing stuff on that label first, and uh, then Select. I think was a Select that ended up picking up Steady B. Cause Steady B, what was I can't even think of the label now.
Jive.
Oh,
Jive too.
no, no, it wasn't Jive. I'm talking about there was a label out of Philadelphia that Shan put a record out on that I wonder if did Shantae's first record was put out on that label. I can't
Mm.
remember what's the name of the damn label though. I'm gonna have you doing your studies
Yeah,
now,
you
bro.
are.
Uh, but they were out of Philadelphia, and
Okay.
then so yeah, so and remember back then, even though a lot of these cats were considered quote unquote gangsters, man, a lot of these guys were our friends. Steady B, Cool C, all of them dudes, EST, those are my dudes. If I saw them, we were always cool. We were cool all the time. There was a group that used to come through, Skinny Boys. You remember Skinny Boys?
Yeah,
They were from North Carolina, I think, right? Or Virginia?
I
North
think.
Carolina, right?
Yep.
And so it was the Renaissance because you started to see uh, other cities start to shine, and then my mind really was, let's get out of this area and get to the West Coast, and because I was doing shows with like Too Short and Outkast, and early on, and Jermaine Dupri with Silk Times Leather, and and so when when I moved to New York, I was thinking, let me go to the Bay Area and find me a group. And so I was trying to sign Souls of Mischief. I was trying to sign Hieroglyphics, like that whole crew. And it's funny how because I was just looking at the vastness of what hip hop was trying to become. Because part of the Ghetto Boys is from Jersey and Brooklyn, but they made their mark in Houston. You get me? And so you had all of these shit. Ice T was way out in L.A., but he came from the East Coast.
Jersey, I believe.
Two, huh?
Jersey, right?
From Jersey. That's right. That's right. From Jersey. And see where you rarely hear Ice Cube talk. I mean, not Ice Cube. Ice T talking about Jersey. At least, I mean, I haven't heard him really mention it, but he is. He's from Jersey.
Right.
And I remember even later on, uh, Jay Z used to come through Trenton quite a bit.
Mm.
Yeah, he had other things going, but he was doing his thing.
Right.
And yeah, so it's I was happy to be a part of the fabric at times, and I was really happy to be and honored to be a fly on the wall at times because I got a chance to see a lot of stuff. Um, from sitting on Leor Cohen's couch and hearing him scream at people to being in Russell's office and or going up to the Def Jam offices and dealing with Kevin Liles or dealing with Tom Silverman and Monica Lynch over there, or you know, uh, going over to Profile to deal with Corey and his crew, or wherever, being in the cold chilling offices, and because these are people who I was in love with their sound. I was in love with what Bismarck and what Coogee Rap was doing at the time, Coogee Rap and Polo, and even Shantae. So these were all my heroes. And so when I ended up doing that second deal after this, um, but if it wasn't for that album, none of this other stuff would have happened.
Right.
Yeah,
What do you think it is about this debut album that people are still talking about it 35 years later?
maybe the honesty of it. You know, uh, it's kind of prophetic at times when you listen to it, um, because a lot of the styles that you hear um, to come. A lot of that was there. A lot of the slang that you hear was in that album. Same thing in Ghetto's Been Good to Me. A lot of people say Steez, Steez. I've never heard Steez before I said it, and I was just making up words. And shortly thereafter, I hear Method use, the Steez, and then Gangstar use it, and then all. So again, I'm not saying, hey, we need the accolades. Maybe I was just in the street, just close enough to get wind of things and create things that were going to become uh, the catalyst for things to come. And I was happy to be a part of that. And why they listen to it now, maybe they listen to it now simply because it's vintage. Maybe. I mean, I noticed that sometimes it takes a lot of people some time for them to appreciate something. I'll give you a case in point. When I grew up, my parents, especially my dad, he had a lot of records, and my uncle was a DJ. But my dad, he would play all kinds of records in the house. I got my mom made it up. Come on, you can get it, girl. And at the time, I would used to think like, what is this man listening to? He would play Stevie Wonder. He would play the Gap Band. He would play Shaka Khan and all kinds of stuff, right? And until I became older, a lot of that music I couldn't appreciate it. Like Stevie Wonder, for instance, I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand his genius until it clicked when I became a man. And because he was singing for adults, and I was a kid, and I just couldn't grasp it. And I think a lot of this now that people are taking the time to go back to listen to these older songs and older albums, um, they're finally getting a chance to put themselves in that artist's shoes a little bit. I wish they would do that more with some of the projects that are coming out, because there's some those a lot of those artists are still, if not, they're hotter than ever now. Like their subject matter, the music, the sonics, um, everything is to the umpteenth power now, and so the information, the rhyme styles, and these are the people who were creating these rhyme styles. Now they sound, and I'm not saying because not everybody is. I hate to. I'm not saying no, not everybody should record, because if you're feeling it, you should. But so many of these quote unquote uh, golden era MCs, man, they sound phenomenal right now. They sound phenomenal, and I just wish that more of the melanated diaspora would really start to pay attention, because um, it seems like, the algorithm has got a lot of people's souls right now, and they ain't gonna, it's afraid to let go or something, because but those are the places where you learn. I learned from listening to my father's music. It took me a minute to understand, but it didn't take a long minute. I have to become 50 years old to understand. I was in my early 20s, and somehow when I started to hear Prince, and I started to hear even Michael Jackson differently, and Stevie Wonder differently, it changed my life, man. It changed my life, and I'm hoping that we would grasp that, because if you look around the Asian community, oh, they grasp it. The Caucasian community, oh, they grasp it heavy. I mean, and the funny thing is with them, and this is to not do the apples and orange thing, but they pay homage to their elders, man. I mean, the Rolling Stones are going on tour right now and sell out. Red Hot Chili Peppers are going on the road right now and sell out. You get me? A lot of the new acts, hip hop acts, or not even hip hop, a lot of rap acts, new rap acts, they can't even sell out shows. But those classic artists can go out on the road and sell a place out, because they give more of themselves. They give greater shows. And then the time was different, Sincere. Back then, you had to hone your skills. You couldn't just walk up on that stage. You just couldn't do that. You
Right.
had to be you had to be a notch above. Because if you weren't gonna get another chance to get on that stage.
Right.
Karis want to throw your ass off.
Right.
I'm not playing. He
Yeah.
would, yeah, it was catched up with, especially in New York, man. They'll throw your ass off the stage. They'll boo you off the stage, and all you had to do was say one thing slick. It happened to me once,
Mm.
but once was all it took for me to understand that you can't come up here playing. And so I think if we would just, and the funny thing is, like, those same people that don't pay homage right now, as they get older, watch, they'll be doing the same thing. They'll be like, yo, I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand. And man, if I own, I listen to young people that they critique my music now, because like I'm some jewel that they found, like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right. Just
It's
now.
funny, man. What do they call those reviews? The reviews that people do. There's all these young people that do reviews, and somehow I've come across people's desks, and these young people, once they listen, they're like, "Man, this is really nice. This is dope."
Right.
And I wish I could have appreciated my own music like some of them appreciate it now. Um, but I appreciate the newer stuff though, because my heart really went into these new later projects. Like, I took the time and honed my skill. And but if it wasn't for albums like Sons of the Father, for me to help me get my feet wet, then I wouldn't be able to do a more organic. I wouldn't be able to do a more deep. I wouldn't be able to do the surprise project that I'm working on as we speak, that I can't even talk about, because the person involved with the project said this has got to be a total
Mm.
secret. And if I live long enough,
Right.
I got one coming. And but look
No.
how long it took me to get to this place, to be able to have people like I'm talking about. it's funny. I remember I mentioned somebody to you in another interview, and that's your hint. And I'm gonna leave it there.
Ah, I got it.
Yeah, and but it's just weird how things happen.
Right.
It's just weird how things happen. It's weird how the things that you pray for, if you live long enough, they'll eventually come true.
True indeed.
They will eventually come true.
With this debut album, any plans on reissuing merchandise? Any?
Oh yeah. Um, I am, as a matter of fact, I'm thinking about, because we're in the process of now trying to get all, it's at its 35th year now, so we're trying to go ahead and we were already in that process for the past couple of years to get everything back. I already have my masters and stuff, but I want to make sure that they can't reprint my project, and I can, get them get them offline and redo it, because at this point, what I would like to do is go back and remaster that album. I never digitally put out Ghetto's Been Good to Me ever. And so if I want to remaster that and add a few records that we recorded back then that should have made the project, but because they were in such a rush, they just and rethink that album a little bit. And yeah, so I'm working on it, Sincere, for sure.
Yeah.
I even want to do vinyl for the Muad'Dib album. All
There
right,
we go.
there you go. I don't know what just happened, bro. Somebody called me. That's why I
Yeah.
don't like it, and then it went out. But
Yeah.
anyway, what I was saying is, um, I would like to read. Like, I got 5 projects now, and I want to make sure that I take all of those projects and put them out like the way I would want to put them out, and whether they sell 100 copies or 10,000 copies or whatever. Um, I would have done it my way, and so, like, for instance, I know I have to remaster the Ghetto's Been Good to Me album. I have to do that,
Hmm.
um, because they mastered it while I was out of town, and I just did not like the sound of it. Um, it has some jewels on that album, but the album was not sequenced the way I wanted it to be. It wasn't mastered the way I wanted to be. Some of the songs that they put on there wouldn't have made it, and some of the songs that I have would have. And so, but when I got back and they rushed it out and said, "Hey, it's done already," I was like, "Bro, I told y'all not to do this until I got back." But that's why you got to do it yourself, bro.
Right.
You got to do it yourself, because they feel like, whatever time restraints that they're on, or whatever, who's ever over their head saying, "Hey, we need this now, we need this now," instead of coming to me and saying that, and I would have put things on hold to make it happen while I'm out of town. They just doing what they want to do, and I just didn't like it. So
Right.
that was the end of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Very dope. We want to thank you again for sliding past the history lessons and sharing with us a classic album that we still hold dear to our hearts. Before we get out of here, any last words for your supporters who've been riding with you since 1990?
Yo, man, just the wheels are still on, so hopefully hold on. Don't let go yet. Um, I'm looking for anybody that's interested in any of the YZ catalog. Holla at me. I'm easy to get at, and I appreciate all of you. Most sincerely, that that you gave me a spot on the wall. You gave me a spot, including you, Sincere. Like you gave me a spot. Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. You see what I'm saying? See, that's what I'm talking about. So I appreciate you, Sincere. I really, really do. I can't wait to see what it's going to be, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. KRS One, this line, you know where I'm going. He said something in the lines on his second album, by all means necessary. He said, 50 years down the line, you can start this, and we'll be the old school artists. And even in that time, I'll say a rhyme, a brand new style, ruthless and
Ruthless and
wild, running around, spending money, having fun. And even then, I'm still number one. And how prophetic is that? Because now that hip hop is 50 years old, um, and it seems to be a renaissance happening, a new renaissance happening now with so many vintage, seasoned artists coming out and really setting their mark. Because most of these albums that I've been listening to sound really good. I mean, some of them, it's a little choppy for me, but for the most part, the sound is really, really good. The skill it seems better than ever. The skill, um, and see, and for MC, that's what we listen for first. The skill, like what are you spitting? What are you talking about? How are you doing it? What are the phrases? Uh, what are your what are your true riddles? Your double entendres, your triple entendres. What are you saying? And
right,
because as an MC, that's how we listen to rap. That's a lot of people don't get that. Like I mean, it's almost like giving a person a science book, right? That's not a scientist, right? When they look at the science book, they read it, but they don't know what the fuck they're reading.
right,
But somebody that studies science, they're like, oh wow, what really? The molecular structure of such and such and such? You get me? And it just hits them differently. And so when I listen to, I think that that's what the younger generation doesn't get. Like, I don't think that some of these people that say they don't appreciate the music, because I appreciate a lot of the young artists. I do. I love where they're going. It don't matter to me as long as they keep it moving. But for an MC though, when I listen, I'm listening for certain stuff. I don't care how much you slur. You can slur all you want to, but make it make some sense.
right.
Because I'm gonna be listening for that shit, and you're gonna be listening for that shit.
Absolutely.
And so I like what I see right now, Sincere. I do. I can't wait to see what 2026 is going to look like, because that's supposed to be the end of our empire. That's supposed to be the end of it. Do you know that, right? 200,
Yeah.
yeah, 250 years. So and to be honest with you, the way things look, it's almost like the writing's on the wall already. So,
Right.
this might be the last chance that we really get a chance to appreciate some of these artists. Think about it. So many people are passing away, bro, young and old,
Yes.
left and right, every day now. Now it's not. You realize it's happening faster now than it's happened ever in our history,
Right.
and so people should learn to appreciate um, their peers a little more. Learn to love each other a little more. I think I said that to you in the interview before this. It'd be good for us to just respect, man. Why is it so
Right.
hard to just simply
Respect.
respect?
Right.
Because respect breeds respect. It does. Just like hatred can breed hatred. It's a simple process. Respect breeds respect.
Right.
And so if I could say anything to them, yo, respect yourself, and respect from others will come easy. Respect others and respect from others will come easy. Like Sincere and I've known each other now, what, 6 years, 7 years, longer
Uh,
than that?
yeah, longer. I would say 2015, 16.
Wow, it's been that long. Think about that. So 10 years.
Yeah,
And right off the bat, it's been a mutual respect.
absolutely.
Because I mean, and that's the way it should be. Brother to brother should always be mutual respect. Not thinking first thing, yeah, fuck him. That's gonna be my enemy. That shouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind when you meet somebody that looks like you.
Right.
You know. So anyway, I appreciate you, Sincere. Thank you. And for those who haven't heard Sons of the Father, please go check it out. I mean, if you're a little disappointed or not disappointed at all, at least you had a chance to listen to it before you too see the grave.
No doubt. And while they're looking for other projects, be sure to shout out your social media and any websites that you got.
Yes. Okay, so if you go to yztheblackbank.bandcamp.com /album /Morganic, Moorganic, you can listen to the new album for free. Um, then on IG, it's the Black Bank, the Black Bank. A lot of people, it's almost I'm like I'm bringing a new guy in because he's just like, yo, you need to get rid of that and just everybody knows YZ. They don't know the Black Bank. They don't know, and I'm like, bro, I've made people understand and listen to the Black Bank. They know who the Black Bank is. If D Nice can get online and say, yo, what's up, Black Bank? What's up, YZ? He knows who the Black Bank is. He knows. If he knows, why can't Joe Schmo know? So at least that's how I see it. But you can go, oh, and then also, um, for those who don't know, I am a business owner. So go to prodroad.com, go to hibiscus heaven.com, go to waterparty.co, CO. And you'll find many, many great natural, healthy beverages that you too can be a part of. And I already got thousands and thousands of people who buy my products every week. And so it's not like it's not me trying to sell you on anything, but become a part of the wave. People always say, hey, we ain't manufacturing anything, we ain't distributing anything, we ain't growing anything. Well, that's not true because your homeboy doing all three of those.
Right.
Farm to table, so anyway, I'm a bad salesman in that. But if you come to the farmers market, I'm a great salesman because I sell out every week. Every week I sell out of products. And anyway, man, just I appreciate all of the fans, old and new. I do know that I do have some new fans, and I want to give you guys a special shout out because it's different when you're just learning somebody and you love them just because, like something about them says, hey, I gotta listen to them. And I've noticed that a lot of my fans are young people, and that says a lot. For me it does anyway, because when I was younger, it took me a minute to figure out Stevie Wonder. It took me a minute. I got all his shit now. I'm talking about all his vinyl, all his CDs. Don't get me wrong. I still listen to him streaming too. But I went out and bought his shit first. I went and bought it because I became a collector like you early on. Like certain things I just had to have. Like I couldn't go through life without having all of Nas's albums. I
Mhm.
had to have them. I had to have all of Biggie and Pac's albums. I had to have them. You
Right.
get me? All of them. If they came out with it, whether people was gonna talk shit about it or not, I had to have it because I felt like later on, should I die, if people go back into what they look in those records, they're gonna know me. They're gonna be like, oh, he used to listen to this. Oh, but you look in that catalog, as much hip hop as I got. Shit, I got Queen in there. I got the Doors in there. I got Ozzy Osbourne in there. God bless the dead. Blue Oyster Cult in there. So I was always one to think like if the music is good, man, appreciate it. Don't matter where it comes from. Appreciate it. That's why I don't diss these younger people, because you ain't never gonna understand them unless you give them a shot. You want them to give you a shot.
Right.
Give them a shot. I listen to them. I ain't got no criticisms, no negative criticisms. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing. Um, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And maybe we could find some even ground between us. I
Right.
hope that we can anyway.
No doubt. Well, YZ, thank you for everything you've done for the culture,
No,
everything that you continue to do.
thank you, brother, thank
Absolutely.
you.
Let's stay locked
You,
in. As
without you,
always.
bruh, we'd be in trouble, bro.
I appreciate that. That is the legendary YZ. I'm the journalist Sin-seer, and this has been a very special episode of History Lessons. Thanks again, YZ.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. See you again
All
soon.
right.